Hey folks, this is Matt Rainwater here, and today we're going to be reading Trailer Park Warlock episode 78. So, last episode, 77, was kind of a doozy, right? So, this one is a little more laid back. I really like the way the first part opens, and I will show you why, right? Alright, so here we go. Title Trailer Park Warlock, an implicate order. And that is a reference to um, it's a term used by David Bohm, who is a theoretical physicist in quantum mechanics. And it kind of, I just like the term, and it's in reference to something Ares says later on in this episode, because this is the episode where Ares talks for the first time, right? So let's get started. So we open with Jake waking up from his, I say waking up, coming back to Earth from his Wombo Combo trip. Welcome back to Earth, stranger. How was it? I, huh? Earth? Give it a moment. Things will come back to you. Weren't we at Burning Foot? What the hell happened? I had you moved away from the chaos of the festival. I think it was for the best considering the particular intensity of reaction to Wombo Combo. So basically, Tabitha has been sitting for Jake his entire trip there. How long was I out? 3 days. Holy. And then there was the egg you spat up as well, if y'all remember. Come again? An egg? I don't remember any of that. I just remember feeling like I had to puke before I left my body. I like the little. Like, Jake is still coming down from his trip, but now he's like. He's at least conscious and aware, so he's got little doodly pops around his head. Something tells me you didn't read the pamphlet, but that's okay. Call back to episode 75. Lenny took care of your surprise, so I wouldn't worry too much about it right now, Jake. At this time, I only recommend rest, relaxation, light food, and plenty of water. No alcohol, doctor's orders. This is true for anybody who is going to participate in psychedelics. Highly recommend it. For the next couple of weeks, you'll be reintegrating your psyche, so I wouldn't do anything exciting or stressful for a time. All this is actually legitimate information that I was given by a counselor I had a psychedelic trip with once. Good information for everybody. I keep repeating it because I don't know. I don't know who of y'all out there might be interested, and I'm into harm reduction. For today, that should be easy enough considering you'll be in good company. Yo, Jake, you made it back all right? Well, I'm here, ain't I? Excuse me, I got a little something in the back of my throat. I like this scene. Um, I really wanted to have some kind of a. Originally, I wanted to have a plot in this season where Jake and Herman went camping, and it didn't quite work out the way that I wanted it to, so I just ended up making it happen here. We might still get to that one day, though. Well, Herman, what was that? What was it like for you? Dude, it was. And we transition to Herman's trip. I guess this is what Sasquatches look like naked, for those of you who want it to know. You came to the game at last, Barefoot One, but do you understand your dilemma? There's a lot of basketballs here. For life is but a court, and we are merely players. rumble, crack, crunch, crash, crack. Welcome to the eternal jam. Doom. So, okay. This entire scene I made because all right, I'm trying to figure out how to explain this appropriate because it's an inside joke between me and some friends. Basically, me and two other friends were trying to get excited for the final Star Wars film of the most recent trilogy, which would be The Rise of Skywalker. I think that's what it was called. So my friend Paul was kind of hype manning it up, and like it was like saying like, "Oh, aren't you excited for when like General Snoke shows up again?" And everybody's like, "Dude, Snoke, you're big." And then Snoke dunks the Death Star. This was like one of those like we were drinking the night prior, and so it's really funny in the moment kind of things. Well, anyway, long story short, we did finally go see the movie. We're disappointed that General Snoke didn't dunk the Death Star, but there was a particular scene that I just had this because the whole basketball thing was running through my mind. I started watching The Rise of Skywalker with this idea that, well, what if this scene did happen, right? Like, what if there's this scene in Rise of Skywalker where like Emperor Palpatine turns the whatever that place is called, Exegol or whatever. Like all these star destroyers rise up from the ground. I was like, what if those were all basketball courts? So, hence why there's also this dude, right, who looks a little bit like Emperor Palpatine, but I wanted to make him kind of original and different and on his own thing. So that's Herman's trip, basically, is my deranged interpretation of the events of The Rise of Skywalker because it was kind of a boring movie, but I wanted to make it interesting for myself. Anyway, the more you know. So going back to reality, dudes were big and there were a lot of hoops. I got dunked, man. Oh, I could have sworn they were more like donuts, but I know what you mean, man. I don't know. This joke is a little bit. I feel like this joke might be a little bit above most people's heads because I was trying to make like this implication that Jake is thinking that Herman saw the same stuff he saw. So I was like, oh, okay. Jake saw the weird Christmas donuts, which is just, you know, the Taurus of the universe, and Herman like saw hoops, right? So anyway, whether or not that joke landed for you, that's the explanation. Well, boys, I should get going. Thanks again for being my guinea pigs, and Jake, check in with Lenny about your egg when you return home. Until then, get some rest and stay hydrated, okay? All right. Excuse me again. Is she hoofing him back? Nah, she came over on a broom. Then who drove me? You can't fit in the cabin. And wait, she's too short, so I'll just add it to the tab, all right? Pat, pat. Darla? Hey, Jake. Hey, Bev. So I guess y'all made it to Burning Foot after all. Sure did. So this was me attempting to fit Darla and Bev into the story a little bit more, which I'm glad because like I said, I like this scene a lot. And this was a moment I really want to have in this season at some point. Well, hell, ain't this cozy? So Jake, how was it? Burning Foot or oh, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, what did it feel like? I think me and Jake are still settling down from all that, quite frankly. Maybe we can save that for tomorrow? Fair enough. It must have made quite an impression, I take it. Impression's one way of putting it. So how was Burning Foot for y'all? Got any good stories? Jake's head is his chin goes a little too far back, but that's okay. Y'all probably didn't notice it until I pointed it out. I made my first sigil. Hee hee. She damn near blew up the instructor. I thought he had it under control. You're being too kind. Well, we helped clean it up. My favorite part was dragging Darla into the rave at the burning ceremony. Heh, I bet you hated that, Darla. Nah, it was alright. The rave? Awesome. I'm so glad you got to do that. Music's always so rad at Burning Foot. Alright, so we're transitioning out. And we follow Tabitha as she's riding a broom and listening to a radio set. So, if I understand you correctly, Mr. Willem, there were several ancient civilizations before Atlantis. Oh, yes, Don. I wish I had like a modifier so I could make it like a over the phone voice. Oh, yes, Don. The historical record just keeps going further and further back. Atlantis was only the first civilization we've even realized we've lost. So this Willem character is kind of what I was thinking about was like Graham Hancock. If you're familiar with him, he is very interested in ancient civilizations, and I mean he's a very good journalist with that stuff. He tries to do like as good of information as you can find on those kinds of things. He most recently did a book about ancient civilizations in South America, which I still haven't read, but I'm very, very interested in. For instance, the Atlanteans speak of a civilization they called Hyperlantis, purported to be an empire in the Atlantic, or no, I'm sorry, purported to be an empire in the Antarctic. It's my own story, and I can't even remember what I'm saying. Hyperlantis was powered by giant magic spires. And then there's the mysterious kingdom of Catlantis, which the Egyptians only murmured about in the highest echelons of the priesthood. Also, the orbital empire of Pan-Atlantis and the solar empire of Atlantis DX. My god, it just keeps going, doesn't it? That's right, Dawn. The record of civilization seems to have no real beginning as we peel back further and further into deep time. Nate, just where are you going with that? Oh, I couldn't finish dinner, so I'm giving it to the neighbor dog. He's fat enough as it is. You come right back in. You still have homework to do. Yes, ma'am. Psst. Hey, come on out. I brought you some food, Aris. Is that you, Nate? Rustle, rustle. Excellent. There's still training to be done, you know. The heavens remain in accord this night. But first, we must sustain the will to nourish. Munch, chomp, chomp, gulp. So, basically the idea, I think this is set up in episode 70, kind of guess, 73. It's, oh, wait. No, it isn't set up in episode 73. Never mind. I'll give you some time because I think I actually say more about this in a later episode. Sorry, I can't give you a place to stay. My mom thinks you'll give me rabies or something, but I don't think you even have teeth. Wow, you must be hungry. Thank you greatly, Nate. Now, as we spoke of, the heart of the tarot remains calm and still sits in his throne. The 5-letter word of the Novahedron is yet to be uttered, and there's still time before the 5th trial. Nate, did you bring your deck? Erp. Nah, sorry, Aris. I gotta go right back inside because I got homework to do. And what sort of duty is homework? I still gotta make a volcano for my science fair project. Volcanoes? The work of automatons and blind geologics. Who dares such insult upon an emperor's soul? That's, for some reason, that's the kind of humor I really enjoy. What has become of human life in this aeon? The adults command their youth. It's as though the planets were pulling the sun. You mean where you're from, the kids run things? No one commands, but there is an implicate order, yes. We understand the 5 laws of the Novahedron. As the Watchers taught us, novelty was the presence of the divine. I'm kind of making some of the... I mean, this isn't really based on anything. I want it, Hyperlantis, to be sort of my own made-up thing that's a little bit inspired. It's slightly inspired by Robert Anton Wilson's ideas about Atlantis in the Illuminatus trilogy, but very vaguely. I'm starting to kind of improv my own batch of weirdness at this point. From the age of 5 to the completion of our first decade, we were merged with the spires, to light the land with our brilliance, that it might shine back brighter to the heavens. Such was the duty of every emperor's soul. Nate, homework, now! Sorry, I gotta go. I'll see you tomorrow. But Nate, coming, Ma. The immensity of the tragedy that must have befallen this world's soul, incomprehensible. And we must bear witness to the new aeon, aid in its alignment to a proper course, assuming the proper course remains possible. As long as there's the new, hope remains. It never seemed possible in the old kingdom, but somehow the Novahedron has yielded. The light that filters from the heavens shines inert. I need to take a sip of water real quick, y'all. Excuse me. Even the Vimanas fly the same. Elsewhere, the forms of everyday life are changed, but the energy remains deformed. Couldn't be possible. Did the path of the lowest will somehow seize power in my absence? So, there is a lot of information in just this one panel. The Vimanas I'm referring to are the UFOs right here. This is very implied. I'm not trying to give it away immediately, but basically, I guess you'll find out at the end of this episode, but essentially the Vimanas existed in Hyperlanus times. But that's all the information that you have, right? There's no more beyond that regarding that. But then also, so Ares is referring to the path of the lowest will, and that goes back to season 2, right? All the tattoourgy that Pontu and Revanstone had was stuff that was related to the cult of the lowest will, which, once again, in season 2, I'm only kind of beating around the bush with. Henry talks about it a little bit. I talk about it a little bit in the wrap up to season 2. But, the idea is that it was a cult from an ancient time that did stuff. We don't really know yet what they did. We know that it's in some way related to the will of abandon. It's in some way related to the abilities that Revanstone and Pontu both had to transfigure, but also to transform into beasts. So that's all I can give right now. Dreadful, dubious, delirious. And then we end on Ares in his dream state as his I'm going to just say human form. But I'm going to leave it at that because there are things to be revealed in the future. So, to be continued. And your terror of the week is the Four Swords. And it's a very confusing card because these swords are bats. But they're metal bats. So, I kind of mess around. I kind of like to mess around in the Trailer Park Warlock Tarot. I emblazon them in such a way that it's the sports team, the baseball team is the swords. And I'm saying all this because, like, bats, you would think you could kind of say, oh, those are like wands, right? But I made them metal bats, so they're kind of like swords. So I put the logo of, like, the sports team of the swords on them. Maybe that's a little too like contrived, but I kind of like how it's really contrived. Anyway, so maybe I'll just take a moment and just say what the Four Swords is about. It's about rest and relaxation. And we have this figure of this baseball player relaxing between I don't know, we could assume practice or a game is about to start. So anyway, and here's your social media particulars, and you can always follow me on Twitter at Matt J Rainwater, on Instagram at Matthew Rainwater. For those of y'all who are watching this, of course, you already know about my Patreon, but nevertheless, for those of you who are watching this as a preview, I will say you can check me out on patreon.com/MattJRainwater, where you can have access to all of the Trailer Park Warlock commentaries and not just some of the ones I'm willing to put out for free. I also have a Ko-fi, Ko-fi.com/MattJRainwater. It's pretty quiet over there, but if you're into Ko-fi, go check it out. And you can also check me out on YouTube, which you're watching me on. And my channel is Matt J Rainwater. So anyway, y'all, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening to me rap about this episode of Trailer Park Warlock. I hope it was enjoyable for y'all and not just confusing or boring or whatever. But I enjoy doing this, and I'm excited to see y'all again next time. Anyway, y'all have a good one, and I will talk to y'all later. All right, bye.